Greetings everyone, Slizzle466 here, and in today's video we're going to be looking at some of the best Week 5 Wild Rise of Shadows decks, but we're going to be looking at some off-meta decks instead to climb with. So these are decks that have had success at the Legend rank or to Legend, and they're a little bit more fun than what you typically see, or they're more challenging to play, but if you want to challenge yourself, have a lot of fun, these are some decks that you're going to want to try out. So we start off with mtgsquirrel's Malygos Togwaggle Druid. Now, if you've played Togwaggle Druid before, it has this combo where you play Aviana, Innovate, Coon, Togwaggle, Azalina, and a whole bunch of other cards in between that process. Now, it's quite annoying when your opponent plays a Dirty Rat, or a Hecklebot, or one of your combo pieces gets pulled off a Deathlord, and then you just auto-lose the game. Well, by introducing Malygos, some living roots, and some swipes, you've now got a second win condition. So this is a really interesting take on the Togwaggle Druid, or the combo Druid archetype. Next up we have YCjPsCAA's Gonk Druid. Now again, this is a similar pattern to what we see with the Togwaggle Druid, but this time the combo is Aviana, Innovate, Coon, and then you play Gonk the Raptor, Faceless Manipulator, Gloop Sprayer between the two Gonks, and now you've got a full board with 4 Gonks. What you then do is you play your Feral Rages twice, and then you hero power, whether it's a 1 mana, 1 attack, or 3 attack if you've got your Malfurion and the Pestilent out, and then if you whack into a minion with your face, you can then attack another 4 times because you've got 4 Gonks on the board. This gives you between 36 and 48 damage depending on what hero you are for Malfurion. Now these attacks stack, so if you kill 2 minions with 4 Gonks on board, you get 7 extra attacks. If you attack 3 minions on board, you get 11 extra attacks. 11 extra attacks can be between 99 and 121 damage, which is absolutely insane. If you want to play some Malygos Hunter, Duwin from Team One Trick has you covered. This specific list is a secret-based build of Malygos Hunter. You've got your Stitch trackers to help you tutor your Emperor Thorazins and or your Malygos, and then using your On the Hunts, Rapid Fires, and Quick Shots, if you have your Malygos on board and you've got your Thoradal weapon from Varisa Windrunner, you can do up to 84 damage if you've got all the spells in hand, which again is a lot of damage. Hard to pull off, but amazing when you do. Speaking of Hunter, we've also got RenoJackson's Control Deathrattle Hunter. So this is a very slow list. It's running Dirty Raptor Disruptions, Explosive Sheep to deal with aggro, and it's also got a lot of mech synergies. So you'll see cards like Venomizer, Ursatron to tutor out your mechs. You've got Healbots, Ziliax. You've also got Missile Launcher, which has an amazing synergy with Toxic Arrow, because you can place Toxic Arrow on the Missile Launcher, and then those missiles are then poisonous. Similar thing with Unstable Ghoul, you can put a Toxic Arrow on the Unstable Ghoul, and then the Whirlwind Deathrattle effect is now a poisonous effect. So this is a very fun, very powerful deck. You've also got some Sylvanas Windrunner and a Sneedsold Shredder, just to get some insane value on the board. A deck that I've mentioned before is Houdini's Big Spell Mage. This is a grinder deck that just tries to grind your opponent out of resources, delay, and eventually just bore your opponent to death, usually in the forms of boards of 3/6 water elementals. Another mage deck you might want to try out is RenoJackson's Aggro Odd Mage. So this specific deck is very heavily teched to deal with Paladin, which is why you'll see things like Arcane Missiles, Cinderstorm, Twilight Flamecaller. So if Paladins are causing you problems, this is a great deck. In addition to that, we've got a really nice combo with Devil's Sore Egg and Conjurer's Calling. Conjurer's Calling killing the Devil's Sore Egg giving you an additional 2 random 3-drops. You've also got Corridor Creepers, and even if you play the Corridor Creeper for say 0 mana, when you play the Conjurer's Calling on the Creeper, you get 2 7-drops, and that's a pretty big deal. There are some very good 7-drops in the game. Archmage Antonidas is one that comes to mind. If you want a bit of a different variant of Odd Paladin, Amokisak's Secret Odd Paladin might be a deck you want to try out. It's very heavy on the secrets, as you can see, including some head scratches such as Eye for an Eye, which can really throw your opponent off. You've got your Secret Keepers, you've got your Commander Rissa, which triggers your secrets twice when she's in play. You've got Subject 9 to draw your secrets since you can't run Mysterious Challenger. And of course, you've got your 2 Recruit Hero Power and your Quartermasters to get bored. So really interesting take on Odd Paladin, something you might want to try out. If you'd like something a little slower, then look no further than Magma's Big Paladin. So as you can see, the top end of this deck is horrendous. Now keep in mind that the Molten Giants will decrease in value over time, especially if you get the High Priest the Cal out early. The Shivala the Tiger will also decrease over time as you play your spells. And you'll notice that most of the spells are very cheaply costed, most of the minions are very heavily costed, and that's because of Prismatic Lens. Prismatic Lens draws a spell and a minion from your deck and swaps their mana cost. So you could, if you're super lucky, get a Ragnaros down for 1 mana, get a Yashaj down for 1 or 2 mana. Just a very fun, very crazy deck to play. If you like to high roll, this is the deck for you. You might be familiar with Murloc Shaman, which has been increasing in popularity, but Murloc Paladin has been on the back burner as well. It didn't get too many new tools compared to Murloc Shaman, but Toxfin is a neutral, and it's a very powerful neutral. Being able to give a Murloc Poisonous can help you deal with those pesky 4-mana 7/7s or Mountain Giants with Taunt from your Evenlock opponent. The deck's also running Hench Clan Hogsteed to get a little bit of rush and get a leftover Murloc on the board. So this is a deck you also might want to consider giving a spin. A very interesting rogue deck made by Kohai is Tempo Rogue. So this is a Kaliseth Tempo Rogue, and you'll notice that it's got some interesting inclusions such as Falderai Strider, Life Drinker, Spirit of the Shark, and Shadowcaster. And so the point of this deck is just to keep on generating more and more 4/4s over and over and over again, doing damage with Life Drinkers, bouncing things back to hand. It's a very technical deck to play, but a very rewarding deck to play, and you can really mess with your opponents if they don't know how to play around the deck appropriately. The nice thing with the Spirit of the Sharks as well is it's kind of like you've got 2 extra soft Bran Bronzebeards, so definitely a deck that you can get ridiculous amounts of value with. Another big deck you might want to try out is Rami's Big Shaman. So similar to the process of Big Paladin, you're trying to cheat out your big minions. The deck's method of choice here is using Ancestor's Call or Muck Morpher. Muck Morpher is a new card that is a battle cry, transform it into a 4/4 copy of a minion in your deck. So you could get a 4/4 Yashaj, a 4/4 Ragnaros, a 4/4 Alec here. And then you can start generating extras using your Ancestral Spirits. So just a really powerhouse deck, very high roll, but also super fun. A deck you might want to take for a spin, especially when your opponent is typically going to mulligan against you as an even shaman. You can really catch them off guard. Another shaman deck you might want to try out is Sipiwi's Rank 1 Legend Shadowwalk Shaman. So this is running a lot of Battlecry heavy cards, which makes sense because of the Shadowwalk. But you'll notice that there's also a Geppetto Joybuzz in there. So Geppetto Joybuzz, it draws 2 minions from your deck, sets them to 1 mana, and this is really good if you're really desperate to get your Shadowwalk. Maybe the Shadowwalk's on the bottom of your deck or very low and you really need it. Geppetto gives you a chance to get that Shadowwalk. You've also got some interesting new cards such as Hagatha's Scheme, which is a great powerful board clear, especially if you have it early in your opening hand. And just a fun deck to play. It's a very skill intensive deck, but it's a very rewarding deck that can really throw your opponents off guard. Especially the Loatheb in Wild, just having your Loatheb played and having the Shadow Walk trigger the Loatheb over and over again, especially if it's a control deck, it makes it basically impossible for them to do anything. KSR has been having a lot of fun with his take on Treachery Warlock. So there are lots of different little combos in this deck. One of them is the Doomsayer Treachery combo, where you play your Doomsayer, put Treachery on the Doomsayer to give it to your opponent, wiping out their board when you hit the end turn button. You've also got Treachery and Fel Reaver, where you can play the Fel Reaver and then give it to your opponent, and then essentially make them lose most of their deck. You've also got the Unseen Saboteur tech, which forces your opponent to play a card from their hand. And in the event that maybe something backfires, your Fel Reaver doesn't go to plan, and you lose most of your hand, or lose most of your deck, I should say. You've got Archivist Elsiana just to help you get some extra value in your deck. So definitely a really fun deck, just to be a general annoyance on the ladder. And last of all, we have Suasun's Dragon Pirate Warrior. So people have been trying to get Dragon Warrior to work again ever since the Execute, ever since the Fiery War Axe nerf. This is one of the better lists that's out there. It's still got a lot of the Pirate Warrior early game shell, but it's more beefed out in the mid to late game, running pirates such as Nightmare Amalgam, Smolderthorn Lancer as removal, Cobalt Scalebane, Draconic Crusher, and finishing out with Dr. Boom. I'd like to give credits to a lot of websites I used to help produce this video. Neon on Twitter is a huge resource, the Decklists channel on Wild Hearthstone Discord, the Wild Filter on Hearthstone Top Decks, as well as Hearthpwn. All of the deck codes for these decks are in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel, you could click that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and until next time, I hope to see you again.